Hey, what's up? It's Joe. So I'm just here in what is this place here? It's a brewery of some sort. Brewery. Okay. So anyway, I'm just here at the table full of data nerds. It's Friday. We're having some beers. Anyway, starting with the nearest person, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, Antti Rask, one of the founders of Helsinki Data Week, for instance.
Hey yo, Juha Korpella. I'm also one of the founders of Helsinki Data Week and consultant and data modeling person. Yes, there you go.
Niko Korvenlaita, just a data person, data cowboy, co-founder of Reconfigured. Been spend my life.
Literally, as a cowboy too. He has a cowboy hat on right now.
Yeah, I do have a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
I'm the data cowboy. You might know me from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Hello, Russell Willis. I'm the Head of Data and Delivery Intelligence at BCS and a Helsinki Data Week fan.
Hey, Kosti Hokkanen, not a founder of anything, currently a data platform lead at Supermetrics. Maybe a founder one day.
Nice. We'll start with you, Kosti. How was your Helsinki Data Week?
I think it's been great. Definitely long days, talking with a lot of people, talking a lot about data. I feel like I woke up last night at 3 a.m. and was still thinking through something about data governance in my in my sleep, and then I was just like, oh yeah, probably need to step away a little bit for some time. But yeah, definitely been nice having small chats, longer chats. I think we chatted last night for an hour with Niko on some stupid stuff with parsing different file formats, etc. So definitely nice to hang out with all the other nerdy guys and girls.
Cool, yeah, I mean, Juha here, hello again. I was just thinking, what happens if I accidentally drop this into my pint? I don't want to do that.
You'll owe me a new mic, and it'll also sound. I don't know. I don't think you should try it.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, it might be
Oh,
interesting.
look
But don't do. Oh, right here. That's my salad. Yeah, thanks.
No,
But please don't.
yes, thank you. So while Joe is now eating, that's chicken? It's chicken, that's good.
It's a chicken Caesar.
Yeah. So Helsinki Data Week has been amazing so far, and this is now the last day. We're Friday afternoon here. We only have the after party left. Actually, everything else is done, and it's been going pretty well. Actually, there have been no catastrophes. No one has died. We didn't have to cancel anything or anyone. so far, yet. I mean, there's still time. So far, so good. This has been an amazing event. People have been very, very positive, and the sense of community has been great. We have seen amazing performances, all sorts of talks, like yours, Joe, obviously, but Ulle's presentation on Metagrid on Monday was something to remember.
Explain the Metagrid for people.
Joe asked me to explain the Metagrid. Oh no. No, Ulle was presenting his ideas on the Metagrid, so he's writing a new book for O'Reilly, which possibly is going to be called the Metagrid, but currently still called Fundamentals of Metadata Management, I think. It has a squid in the cover, yes, so the squid book. So what Ulle was talking about is the idea that in different sorts of organizations we all have different kind of repositories of different kinds of metadata about the IT landscape, and how we need to be sort of aware of that and connect these different islands of metadata to form this sort of a meta grid, which I accidentally run into at my customers, which was super interesting also, because I've been reading what Ulle's been writing, and it actually happens. I know for real it actually happens. So it's immediately practical. I really like that. It was an amazing, also kind of an emotional talk, which, when considering the topic, is rather interesting. But amazing week, amazing stuff. I am exhausted but happy. So that's my takeaway. Niko, you go.
Yes, continuing on the Ole's speech, and I really loved how he delivered the Metagrid talk. And I'm so sad that it wasn't recorded, because it was the first time Ole was presenting it, and the delivery was so on point. Continuing on what Juha talked, the Metagrid is there. It's not something that you build, it is there. It is a reality of an organization. There is the different repositories of data, and it's just like an accepting it. There cannot be one tool or one rule to rule them all, and that's kind of like where we need to go into. And you can see it. I feel that in data space and other spaces as well, that people try to do this like in one solution that will solve all your problems. And how Ole was like in presenting, the way he presented it, that you cannot do this. And he managed to emphasize that, and I'm really happy that I was able to capture that. I've recorded one video on my short take on Metagrid, and I cannot deliver it as well as Ole did.
Yeah, I also have like a feeling that like quite often we as data people, we want to build the kind of a reality. We want to build something new to like a data warehouse, build everything ourselves, whereas like it actually the world is out there, the business is out there, they are doing their stuff in their systems. Maybe you should rather just like try to build your picture based on what already is there, rather than trying to come up with something yourselves.
Russell here. So I'd like to echo that. I think Ola's talk was very good, but the entire opening event was great, with also Joe's talk, Vin and Passy's. It was a great opening event, and the week seems to have really flown by. And I've got two ways of looking at this. One, I kind of knew about the existence of this event shortly after the idea came to be, so seeing it actually take place in the real world has been fantastic. And I also was lucky enough to have a partner event, which went pretty well. So on two sides of the coin, it's been a great event, and I'm looking forward to this being repeated annually, hopefully. And if this first event is anything to go by, I think they will all be very strong.
Yeah, Antti here, and maybe I'll just say a few words about the event and how it came to be. Some of you may have already heard this 1,000 times, but maybe some haven't. So Joe here is partially to blame that we are again here in Helsinki. So last year Joe was here. We had 3 separate events in Helsinki, and I was like, maybe we could have more than 3 in a week. Now, having had this week, I'm thinking maybe it could still be less than 5 days the next time we do it, but let's see. It's been great. It's been actually great, even though the week has been long. Like someone said, to see this thing become reality, it's something special. Yeah, that's all I can say at this point.
Well, I thought the interesting thing about last year was you had, get off the plane, go to Ole's event over at the Dama, I guess you pronounce it here. States we call it Dama, whatever. Data. So there was that one. That was great. Crashed that. I don't think he knew I was showing up. And then the next day, it was an R meetup that you had arranged for me to go speak at over at some company. Supercell, yes, a video game company, big company, great office. And then, of course, Agile Data Engine, shout out to those guys, been instrumental, I think, in kind of getting at least data tooling in Finland out to the rest of Europe and hopefully the world. But anyway, so 3 separate events, and it was like, we think we were commenting, nobody seemed to know each other or talk to each other, which I thought was really weird. It's like, it's not that big of a city. It isn't like New York or something, right? So,
and that's like super interesting because it was, first of all, it was so funny when Joe crashed Ole's talk with Sade, in the middle of a talk, straight from the airport or something like that, and it was, but now seeing this idea of getting these separate communities to kind of under the same umbrella, and getting people from different areas of data, are they more of like data engineering people, data governance people, data visualization people, getting them under the same roof and sharing their ideas, because in the end it's all about collaboration. It's the collaboration game that matters, and as such it's so freaking amazing to see this Helsinki Data Week happen. I know the week has been long, but I feel that having the week-long event or a stream of events has made it possible for people to do a pick and choose, and pick those events that actually matter to them most, and having some of the people to be all of them, some of the people to be in part of them, and for me it has been amazing event or stream of events to meet new people, meet old people from all the different areas of my data career.
I also feel like when listening to Joe's podcast in the past, I've heard you say that Finland has probably one of the tightest concentration of data professionals, and I feel like I initially when I listened to that I felt like, where are all those people? Like I haven't seen them.
In their mom's basement.
but now it's it's been fantastic to actually see all these people come out there, talk to a lot of people, some old friends, some new friends. I think that's been just very cool to see that there actually is this very cool and very knowledgeable data people around here.
Yeah, I just wanted to hop in here and just give a shout out to the two of the founders who are not present right here now, drinking beers and eating chicken and burgers and whatnot. Sade Haveri, who has been running our finances amongst other things. I hope the finances are good, but yeah, they are. And she did actually an amazing job. Last night we had an event at one of our main partners, Relax, who is a company doing retail logistics, sort of optimization and whatnot, very advanced AI stuff, and Sadis there building data products with them and setting up data governance. Super interesting talk yesterday. But Sade, and then Eeva-Maija Virtanen, of course, and Eeva-Maija has been doing a lot of work on the marketing stuff and on the volunteers, which also deserves another shout out, because we've had some of our local even rather junior data people just hopping in on this, putting on Helsinki Data Week t-shirts and dealing with all the little practicalities like checking tickets and whatnot, which would not have been possible without them. So, I mean, amazing work there. Very happy that we have been able to do this with this group. I wouldn't change any person from this group. This is the best team. Thank you.
If I can just jump in on that as well, I think the logistics of this event have been almost perfect. I haven't seen a slip the entire time. So the four organisers plus the whole team behind the scenes helping out with that have been very good. Just to touch back on one of the comments that was said before about there being a very high density of data people in Helsinki. A bit of an anecdote I've got. When I first arrived here in Helsinki for the first time on Sunday night, I came through passport control and the passport officer asked me if I was here for business or pleasure. I said business. He said, "What are you doing?" Looking fairly stern. And I said, I'm visiting for a data conference. And he went, "Oh, are you a data analyst?" And I said, "Well, I work with them." And he said, I'm thinking of leaving and going to school to learn data analyst. This is a field that I want to get into. And this was the first Finnish person I spoke to, which I think is a very good omen for data in Finland.
And speaking about events and organizing events, I feel that Finnish people are good at organizing events. And we can see it from the success of Slush, which is one of the largest startup and VC get-togethers in the world. And every November, or an end of November, and a lot of VCs and startups come to Finland. There is 10,000 people joining in the event, and that's all based on voluntary work. And as such, and it's great to see the same like it's not just like the startup ecosystem, it's also the data ecosystem where we have the strong community of like, and hey, we go there, we do things together, we build stuff, we build these things and make the community thrive. That's some of the most amazing things to see in my perspective.
For the audience's reference, and that means people outside of Finland, like what's the population of Finland?
About 5.5 million, something like that.
Okay. In Helsinki, how many people are in Helsinki?
Helsinki is about 500, 600,000, I suppose. The
Metro
kind of capital
maybe?
area, yeah.
Interesting. Oh. It's a small city, a pretty small population country-wise. I mean, that's some cities. I think London has more.
Way more than that.
Yeah, a few. So I think it's interesting. But what do you think it is about data here? Because I mean, you had like, we're talking about Alex Sharp earlier, who's awesome data modeler. I mean, I think there's been a lot of data modelers have come here in the past. I wouldn't say a lot, but like the influential ones like Alec. Then you had Dan Lindstedt, who also came here. What is it about Finland attracting, and I guess me now, I'm not really teaching anything like those guys, but like, what is it about Finland that you think attracted, maybe we'll just give those two guys an example, Alec and Dan. Like,
Hey, this is actually a very good question because, it's Alec and Dan, and there have been many others, like kind of top-class data people coming to Finland, giving lessons and courses and whatnot. And I think a big part of that is the overall sort of engineering mindset that people have here in Finland. And I don't mean like engineering mindset in the sort of shall I say, American sense of the word, that move fast and break things, but rather in the kind of more
we got
architecture.
Boeing, we got startups. It's
Well, you know, pros and cons and all that stuff. But in the sense that kind of more architectural sense of the word, in a way, that people want to build kind of consistent structures and things that last, and they want to be kind of logical and whatnot. And this then leads to questions that are best answered with, for example, data modeling and so on. So I think that's kind of where we are.
I don't know if it's anyhow related to the fact that Finland might be the promised land of data vaults. Like, if you look at like all the bigger Finnish companies, like most of them have data vault, which means that they are at least putting an effort to the data modeling. I don't know if it's a good thing that every one of those has a data vault, but that's more personal preferences.
Like, and in the end, how I see Finland and Finnish people are simple forest folks. We are a simple forest, like a nation. We were simple. We don't have the history, of the royalties, a lot of, royals, not like another European countries. And we were the backbone of, the back forests of Sweden, and when we evolved from that, being simple forest folk, we went straight from forest to engineering. First forest engineering, wood engineering, then to pulp and paper, and we just have to build and build and build, and I think that's kind of one of the backgrounds in this, that we've just had to build. We've never had the time for politics. We never had the money or the capital, and most of our neighboring countries, such like Sweden, which is way more richer in capital. So, as such, and if you think about data modeling, and if you do data modeling well, you're efficient, because we've had to be efficient because we've been so resource constrained. That's kind of my short history lesson of this small and modest country.
And I don't know, if it might be that Finnish has in overall pretty good education system. That of course has probably a thing to play out here, that we generally have very good education levels. So that of course helps to getting professionals to the data field who actually want to think about how we build something that lasts, and not just think about, okay, how am I going to get through this week?
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't say America has the best education system by any start. I think you guys probably have us beat there. But maybe we talk about the startup culture here, and then maybe the business culture in Finland for a bit. So, how would you describe Finn's appetite for risk taking in business?
Low. That is the thing. Like, and one of the I would say, like, and Finns in general have been historically really like and risk averse people, and as such we've been focusing on really simple and core technologies, such as like and well wood and pulp. We managed to build at some point one of the largest companies at that time, which was Nokia, our phones. But that was once again that was engineering led. It came from like and hey, we have this amazing technology, core technology, which felt like a risk averse thing. It just happened to be right on spot. Well, later on, we've had like a great success with other things as well as mobile phones, like, and you wouldn't believe that one of the biggest mergers and acquisitions that happened in Finland was a food delivery company called Volt, which merged with with DoorDash, and but once again that was a core technology piece. How do we make it more efficient to do in transactions in restaurants? And I feel that even though Volt was such a big success in the Finnish landscape, it still wasn't as risk-taking as the American counterparts in that area. And that's kind of like my take on this.
Yeah, I guess like there's in Finland there is somewhat of this environment that like if you go start your company and it fails, then it's a little bit of a stigma on you, like people are looking at you differently and you are viewed as like you're a little bit failed. Whereas I think in the States it's like very very different. Like, okay, you build a company, you fail. Okay, you do it that like 12 times, and maybe then after that, then you get off.
Actually, we have a Brit here too, Russell. What's the how would you contrast or compare what they've said with the climate in Britain? I've always been curious.
I'd guess that we're maybe somewhere between Finland and the States. I mean, just talking about failing in startups, from all the discussions I've had with yourself and other Americans, I get the impression it's seen as a badge of honor. You know, if you've had a startup that's failed and you've gone back and you've gone again, you know, like the little engine that could, you keep going until you get success. Now, I've no direct experience of startups in the UK. What I can talk about is perhaps the education system, and I think that's, should we say, hybrid. So there is both private education system and there's public education system, and some very prominent, successful people have been to both. So if we were to express the data at great scale, I don't think we'd come out with a definitive proof case that one is better than the other.
Right.
So, yeah, I can say that, but I don't think that really helps the conversation much.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think America is a place where I've known very wealthy people who, well, one person I know didn't even finish high school. He dropped out, right? But he still ended up becoming very, very wealthy. I think more just because the person had really sharp street smarts and knew how to sell to people, and he grew up in the Bronx, and so just that will shape you in ways that I don't think school will ever shape you. So, you know, and then I know other people who took the traditional route, went to Harvard and Harvard Business School and so forth, and I don't know. So there's a lot of ways, I think, but do you feel like there's like a prescribed path here that you have to take as far as going to school and doing such and such career? Do you have more liberty to do what you want here?
Well, I feel that for the most people, because like there is the sense of security, and people wanting to do security, because like in here it's quite easy to just do okay. But what I've seen, I'm a startup founder. I'm a second-time startup founder. My previous one failed miraculously, and there is a new generation of people who have realized that because of the social security network that we have, it's actually really freaking great place to take a risk. It's really great place to do high risk startup because of all of the security network that you have. Like, I studied in Aalto University, and and if my first startup would have succeeded, I would have probably never finished my degree. But because it failed, I just went back to school. And because of its public education, and I didn't have to pay anything for and skipping a couple of years. And I feel that there is certain part of the population that have realized that they can try these things out, but it's not large enough, in my opinion, yet.
If I may just tell my little, my personal story on how I get into this business, but very short story. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I yeah, these guys are laughing because I have been telling extremely long and pointless stories all day. But I had my degree in economics, so I have a master's in economics from a small provincial university in economics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I've never done anything relating to economics, but as my first actual proper job, I went to work at government statistics, and I thought I'll do something relating to economical statistics there, and so on and so forth. And on the first day, my boss asked, "Do you know what the data warehouse is?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, this is a data warehousing project. You better learn." So I started Googling, and now I've been doing this for the last, 40, 50 years.
What did you think of those two words, data warehouse, when you first heard it?
Well, I thought, okay, well, warehouses are places where you put data in. Maybe that kind of something,
Do you think it was like a physical warehouse?
No, but my dad actually thought I worked at the physical warehouse for a while. But I had to figure that out, how to explain him.
Interesting.
So I just thought of something to come back. We're talking about startups, and I didn't really have many stories from the UK or England about startups, but entrepreneurship I do have. So the company I work for now was started by two individuals that worked for another company.
Okay, go on.
Okay, on?
Yeah,
Ready?
sorry, we had a bit of a technical difficulty here, so... What were you saying, Russell?
So I was saying that I didn't paint startup culture in the UK in a particularly good light, because I have no skin in the game there. I don't know that many people in startup culture. However, entrepreneurship, I think I have far more familiarity and experience of that. The company I work for now was founded by two people that worked for another company that wanted more flexibility in what they were doing. They wanted to do things a little more digitally, a little better. And they found they were better able to do that by leaving and starting up their company. And this is the company I work for now that's been going for about 10 years, a little shy of 10 years. And coincidentally, the company I worked for 14 years prior to that, exactly the same thing. It was maybe 3 or 4 people at that time, worked for another big company, wanted more flexibility to do what they were doing, left, founded their own business, did the same thing. And that company has been going for maybe 35 years now. So entrepreneurship is rife everywhere, especially in these type of industries where there's a lot of regimented culture. People get a little, itchy feet, want to go and do things a little better than the corporate machine can allow them to do, so they leave, start their own business and do it. So not quite startup culture, but closely aligned, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think probably a few of us here went off and did our own things because we thought we could probably do something different, maybe arguably better, but definitely different, right? So do you think you'll ever go off on your own and do something entrepreneurial?
Do you know what? I've thought about it several times, but I've never been brave enough to take the step. I've always had big economic weights tied to me, like a mortgage or other things where I didn't want to put myself at risk of jeopardizing that. So at the times when I've had the highest appetite to go and do it, I've had the least flexibility, and therefore just haven't done it at this stage. But never say never.
Yeah, happens. Niko, what's up?
That's kind of funny, because at the moment that when I started my latest startup, Reconfigured, I was on a parental leave for my first kid. I was on a parental leave and had a large mortgage. And I was still I can still do this. I can still do this because I believe that me and my co-founder Richard, we are able to raise enough money so that I can pay myself enough so that I can pay all my fixed pays. And well, it was I think like one of the key parts here was the confidence of like, and we believe in this idea enough that even though we are not yet like, and we don't have a product yet, we just have an idea, we are able to convince someone, even in Finland and not in like Silicon Valley, to invest enough in us. And I feel that it's something that like, and people need to learn is to like, and just have confidence in them, because like, and I see like a lot of talent around me that is a little bit too shy of themselves, or like, and not believing in themselves enough of like, and taking the jump, even if it's even if it wouldn't be like starting their own business or a startup, like starting a business like Juha did, or like starting a startup, but like and getting to the next level of things, like and having the confidence. I think like that's what I see lacking in here.
Yeah.
Well, nothing to add except that I did start my own business and my own little one-man consultancy with basically no idea on how to do that, but I just figured it out, so it's going pretty well.
I think business is one of those things where, and I don't think a lot of people should go and do their own thing. I think it's actually, I don't think the amount of stress and emotional ups and downs you go through is not worth it. And the financial stress and everything else, I don't think most people should. Honestly, if you want to do entrepreneurship or start a startup, good on you, go for it. Know what you're getting yourself into. You'll go through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows probably in the same hour, which is a sign of probably manic depression in some ways. But yeah, that's part of it, and the other part is just But you indicated, Russell, which was interesting, that if you stick around long enough, if you go through that curve of, I guess that trough of, I don't know how else to put it, but trough of death that most companies go through at some point, you come out the other side. You time is on your side. I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, my tip is just you got to get through it. Like Juha figured it out. Just figuring it out, he says, but
Figuring it out.
yeah, but it's just, I don't know if you ever figure it out, but I think you get a lot more comfortable with the just sort of the day-to-day. Like for me, it's more just you start developing sort of an eat what you kill mentality. I developed that years ago, but you just view the world differently, where it's you're not there to collect a paycheck, you're there to figure out how to make money and so forth. But I think to your point, Russell, if you could stick around long enough, like these companies. You said 7 years, right? And then another one was 35, and I think the 15 was another number I heard, but maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. But
yeah. I mean, they've been going a long time, and I think the people that started the company I was at 2 ago, the company that they left had been around for multiple tens of years. So they're still going strong. I've left them in a good position, and they're about 35 years plus now. My current company is just getting to the 10-year mark. But the decision to do that, even though, like I said, it's not startup culture, more entrepreneurship, I think still takes a lot of courage to do, and it's a lot easier to make the data assessment retrospectively and say, oh, I should have done this 2 years ago. Having the foresight and the ability to go through the data at the time and have the courage to make that decision at the time is kind of the golden ratio. If you can do that, everything should be better.
I think a company like a non-VC backed company, I think, is almost harder in a lot of ways because you don't have that cash infusion or the support network of your investors. It's like it's you against the marketplace, and especially when you're young, like you have everything at your disadvantage. You have no money relative to your competitors. You have no network relative to your competitors. You have lots of competitors. You have more competitors than you do customers. And the thing is, your competitors don't even notice you because you're so small. That's how much you suck, is that they don't even care. So, like, that's just the reality of it, right? So you know, at some point you figure out your niche, and then you know, people figure out who you are, and hopefully you develop a good reputation, and then it goes from there. But it takes a long time, like you're saying, and it's like, to me, it's almost harder, like I said, in some ways, because again, you don't have that. The thing with VC-backed startups is they're a roller coaster. You're expected to 10x your growth or more. That's the other bet. So it's stressful in that way. So I talk to a lot of VC funded people these days, founders, and some of them, I think, I wouldn't say some, I get the impression like probably half the people I know regret taking VC money because now there's strings attached. And it's like, especially right now, if you have to raise more money, it means you get diluted, which means, cool, I would have made more money probably if I had given up less of the company to investors. That's just the reality of it. So now you're still working your ass off, but not for as much of a payback. So that's what it is.
If I may tie this back to Helsinki Data Week.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're a startup or no VCs. So that's the point. We started this thing from, like, we had just the idea, and then in less than a year we put this thing together, and I'm just happy that we managed to do that. And hopefully we can grow. One thing we haven't talked about is that even though this is still fairly small, we still got people, not just the speakers, but other people from abroad to come to Helsinki. Shout out to Angel, for instance, from Bulgaria.
Oh yeah, he came from Sofia.
Yeah. So crazy thing to, you know, since it was just this idea a year ago, and now people are coming to Finland from outside of Finland to this conference, so we are hoping to continue that also. One of the ideas was to hype Helsinki and the Helsinki data scene, you know, show what we have here, because like you said, we have a lot of things here. What we are not Swedish, so we're not that good at promoting ourselves, because we are simple forest folk, but we are trying our best to change that a little bit.
And continuing that, like, and it is not just like, do you take the startup path or do you take the entrepreneurship path? Well, like this, like, and it takes courage to do this things, like, and there is something that you believe in, and then you take the first steps. You take the steps of like towards really big unknown, such as like an event organizing is one of the craziest things to do for reals. It's like, and you have to take so much risk beforehand. Like, and even though it wouldn't be like that big of a financial risk, if you're doing like a bigger event, it's financial risk. But still, like, are you able to deliver? And like that's one of those things. Or even if you're like taking like can I like upgrade my skill sets? Like, am I ready for the next position? Like, and just like believing in like and trying it out. You can always go back. You can always, in most cases, just go back where you left.
So I just had a quick thought there, trying to say formulate the golden ratio for startup culture. Everybody, I think, that has spoken about it has mentioned courage. And I've already mentioned on this talk, you know, I have no direct experience of startup culture. So from the perspective of an external person, I'm going to guess it's like 80% courage, 10% idea innovation, and 10% financial backing. Does anyone else here on the table have an alternative opinion?
Yeah, but I mean, about 50% of that is also luck.
Actually, a little bit related to that jump, I have a question for you, Juha. Like, you were previously a CTO, right?
CPO. C3
yeah, well,
CPO.
Kind of like, kind of like on the C level. Like, would you say that now in your daily life, when you're just a one-man consultancy company, are the problems you are solving daily, are they like more daunting or less daunting than the ones that you had on C level?
No, that's good. I have to kind of explain that sea level in my situation doesn't necessarily mean the same sea level as it does for everyone else, considering that when I was actually hired for my sea level position, there were no other employees whatsoever. But okay,
it says C in the title.
Yeah, all right, there was the sea, and eventually we had more employees, yes. No, I think what the problems are that I'm facing now are more varied by nature than they were back then. Back then I was figuring out how to build this single product, a single thing into something that people actually want to buy, and what to do with that. That's kind of all. There's a bunch of problems, but they are all related to that single topic. Now I'm figuring out data problems with a bunch of clients, and these are completely different organizations. Some in energy, some in whatever process industry. The problems are completely different. The organizations are in completely different places. All right, all the problems are eventually about the same things, like how do you build an operating model around data? How do you figure out what data you have and where it is, and so on and so forth? But I think the problems and the cultures and people involved are so much more varied than they were when I was kind of dealing just with a single product. In that sense, I think it's more sort of varied nature.
And I guess it's that you now you don't every time you go to a problem you don't have the perfect context, or so is that hard, working without the context?
No, I don't know if I'm weird or not, but yes, but considering this specific aspect, that I enjoy figuring out what the context is when I go to a new client. I suppose all of you who have worked as consultants, you probably recognize that there's this certain exhilaration of going there, as if you were on a expedition to some unknown jungle. You try to figure out what's going on, what's the problem here, what are the structures around that problem, and then you're trying to find it out. I think as a sort of solo entrepreneur consultant, I get to enjoy that more than I would be enjoying it elsewhere. And I like this.
And related to that, a side note related to that, it's a funny thing. It doesn't matter and where you go, even if it's in the same industry. Every CRM is unique installation. Every CRM is a unique installation. And tying it back to the kind of an grander scheme of things, data modeling in CRM is really not well thought of. There is not enough data modeling skill put into the CRM data modeling. Doing a couple of steps and redirecting this conversation a bit.
Why do you think CRM data modeling is hard?
You have the funny thing about it is that the people who are doing it are not perhaps the best ones to do it, or and they know the context of the business, they know the context of the domain, they are really good at their domain, but they lack the support from those people who actually can have the data modeling skills. And I've seen it so many times that there is an person who is responsible for CRM. You might call them a RevOps manager or whatever, or RevOps engineer or whatever, and they go to, for example, data engineering to help for an internal support, and they are not getting it, and that's kind of a really sad note, because in every CRM instance is unique, because in every business is unique, and they are not getting the help to actually utilize the tool to the greatest.
And I guess it's also partly, I would put some blame on the vendors. If we think just a few years back, HubSpot didn't have custom objects, which of course it really much hinders you from modeling the CRM to your needs and the system to fit your business model. And then you're forced to do those kind of things, that you start to use the standard objects in your custom own way. And usually that then starts to get the problem when you don't use the system as it's intended. And it starts to create some problems down the line. In my previous company, we used HubSpot deals for 2 different entities. And then you would always, when you make a sales report, you need to put the filter that don't use this one pipeline. Otherwise, you're gonna get some very weird numbers for your close rates. So I guess that's something that like those vendors might cause you.
I just wanted to say very quickly, in some instances, it's a very fine line between innovation and misuse of an intended purpose, and knowing the difference between one or the other can be a super skill.
%, because like and great innovation comes when you're pushing the boundaries of certain technologies. Like and I've seen misuse that is insanity, and I've seen misuse that is brilliance. And like and the similar way as like and humans, like the brilliant people and the insane people usually like and are quite close to each other on certain spectrums.
Yeah.
I mean, the boundary between genius and insanity is very, very thin one.
You would know.
Often you will just like a little bit later you will see like where you are genius or where you just the numbers that is blamed later.
Happens all the time. Well, I know we got to get to a party in a bit. Kind of closing out. What are you excited about for 2025? As a community, maybe I'll leave it at that.
Well, we are obviously excited for the possibility of Helsinki Data Week returning in 2025.
Nice.
I've been like and repeating Joe's MMA reference for a year now. I'm like an excited to see that coming a reality, like and people actually taking on that.
Hope so.
So yeah, I'd second Helsinki Data Week 2. Really looking forward to that. Bit of a wild card suggestion. LLM learning to tell a real joke.
Oh yeah, this is in reference to something that might come out with Niko and Richard at some point. What were we doing? It was...
You laugh, you lose.
Yeah, you laugh, you
With data
lose.
jokes.
Not a lot of laughs. Not a lot of losers.
I think everybody lost.
Yeah, we all lost in the end. It's bad jokes. Yeah, I hope to make it over to the UK too. It should be fun. Hang out with you. What's Antti?
In addition to hopefully Helsinki Data Week 2, Electric Boogaloo, I would like to see more of these meetups that we also started doing this year. Just to get together without a big agenda. As you know, there has been a very good meetup scene in London and in the States, in various cities, and we have been trying to also bring that to Helsinki, and so far it has been successful, and we will want to continue that.
Yeah, I gotta echo that. Like it would really nice that we can come together as a community, sort of solve some problems. You can find out if someone has solved your problem. At least what I've seen is that like we tend to quite often sort of we want to just stay in our silo and figure out the problems ourselves. But it's like there is the community out there. What if you just ask a friend? Have they done it already?
Just talking about community, I want to take a moment and shout out one of the communities that brought a lot of us together here, which was the Artists of Data Science and Harpreet Sahota back in 2019, 2020.
Oh yeah.
We the four of us, Vin, Joe, Antti and I, we took a photograph at the opening event that some of you guys may have seen on LinkedIn, but that really was the first opportunity I had to meet many of the people in this data community, and you know, I've really got a lot of love for that.
Oh yeah, that was a magical hour. So for the audience, it was Harpreet Sahota ran this ongoing Zoom call. I think in my time, at least, it was like 3 p.m. Mountain Time. You guys, I'm pointing at Antti and Russ, it was night. But it was just basically a Zoom call during COVID, and it was a chance for data nerds to get together. I don't know if you describe it as a Q&A or sort of a community event, but there was no selling, no sponsors, no nothing. It was just, I think, a very pure office hours kind of therapy group in some ways every week. I always look forward to it because I just crack open a beer in the afternoon and just hang out and just BS with people. So that was cool. But you know, I think without that, none of us would be here right now. I would wager that to be true. But the thing I think with the Helsinki data community in particular that's interesting is what I notice, and I think the big opportunity is people. I think people sort of took the playbook from other networking events and they showed up kind of being transactional in some ways. Like, here's a flyer to my company, and it'd be like, yeah, but we're just here to meet and talk as contributors and as community members, not to get pitched on your startup or your company or whatever. So I think I think people, that's to be expected when it's early like this. I don't think people get the memo, but I think people will get the memo, especially maybe as you have more kind of local events and tie the community together. I think because of the smaller size here, just in Finland and Helsinki, it actually plays really, it would consider that a strength, not a weakness, because there's less baggage to deal with. If there's more people, it's just, you have more permutations of salesy, bullshit and all that stuff that people could get engaged with. Whereas if it's small enough, people know the rules. I mean, Finland has a good culture, I think, just in the way people interact with each other. You just kind of notice it as a foreigner. You come here and you're like, it's not where you're from.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree. This is my first visit to Finland at all. Helsinki, my first city, and everyone I have been in the vicinity of seems great people. Whether I've spoken to them or not, there just seems to be a good vibe. Pleasantness, politeness. It's a great place to come visit.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been fun chatting. I know we need to get some beers. Auntie's really hungry right now, so we'll cut it off here. But anyway, it's great to chat with you guys, and I'll see you next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.